Cancelo. Oh, that's a great ball. Oh, it had to be. Haaland.
Overlap! Nketiah! He's got the big chance. He's got the big... And it's Salah for Liverpool! Oh! Fantastic goal!
Manchester City are once again your champions. 3 times in a row, Pep Guardiola's side have done it. Confirmation there at the bottom of the table. Nottingham Forest 16th on 37 points. They cannot be caught now, and they are safe in the Premier League. Well, the Manchester City players watched this game together, and this is their reaction at the full-time whistle. Yep.
It's getting a little bit worrying, though, that their dominance domestically needs to be challenged.
So they clinch it in the 37th round of matches. I mentioned this is their 3rd time in a row. Their 5th out of the last 6 seasons. Let's welcome in Pablo Zabaleta. Pablo, all good, mate?
Really good, Dan. Really good. I'm really good.
Yeah, of course.
3 in a row. You just mentioned it.
Yeah.
3 in a row. Well done. Well done, Man City. Brilliant.
What's interesting is that maybe we take it for granted, but the players there, the celebrations as if it's their first.
Yeah, I prefer to win it on the field, to be honest. But of course, they probably the way in training session before or after, they were all together in the training ground. And what a moment. I mean, when they saw the final whistle against Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, I mean, you know, that's a moment to celebrate with your teammates, with the coaching staff, and with everyone around, you know, the training facility in the building. Because at the end of the day, it's everyone, you know, at the club. And that's something that I'm very proud of. Well done. Congratulations to the player, to the coaching staff, to everyone. 3 in a row, that's not easy. That's not easy in the Premier League. But they shown one again. They are the best team in the land. In the way they've been playing in the last 3-4 months, been incredible. So they well deserve it. Well done.
They can celebrate tomorrow at home.
Yeah, against Chelsea, isn't it?
Chelsea, they can probably wear their big party hats, silly hats, false nose, glasses, funny boots, and still win the game. They're playing so well.
There'll be a guard of honour, of course, from Chelsea. Frank got quite angry about the guard of honour, saying it should be a player's choice whether or not they take part in it or not.
Frank
Frank Leboeuf, yeah. Which Frank did you think?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I haven't really given much thought, have you?
Would you mind?
I'd rather not.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Right.
I mean, you shouldn't be told that. I mean, either the team does it or the team doesn't. I mean, it's not a case of individuals can decide whether they do it or not. Either the team does it or they don't. And it should be down to the team and the manager whether they do it or not. I mean, you're saying they were told they had to do it. And if you're told you got to do it and the Premier League's paying you whatever amount of money, I suppose you're pushed into it. But if it's a choice, no.
I think we're getting embroiled too much in these guard of honours.
I mean, it's respect, right? It's respect.
Yeah.
I get it.
But
I'd rather not do it.
When you won all your titles for Liverpool, did you win them all on the pitch? Or were there instances like we saw today with City where you watched it?
No, we won them on the pitch.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, I'm with Pablo. Way better. Way better to win it on the pitch.
3 in a row, Craig, is it a concern?
Yeah. I think when you watch the way they're playing, that it's not going to go away. It is a concern. We're not at the stage of, obviously, Bayern's dominance, not by a long shot, but Liverpool will have to step up, and that's a question mark because of the finances. United need to spend. If all these things happen, Liverpool should be better, United should be better, Arsenal, you would hope, would kick on. Newcastle, you would hope, would kick on, but I don't think they'll spend crazily. And then Chelsea are just an anomaly. But somebody has to challenge a side that can just absolutely demolish teams. We saw what they did to Real Madrid. We've seen what they've done in the run-in. When Arsenal asked them all these questions, it was Arsenal that eventually folded because of their squad size and one or two players losing form. And it was Man City that just puffed their chest out, and De Bruyne found his second win. Gundogan found his second win. Rodri, Walker, Stones, the list goes on. And that's not going to change. It's one or two players every year, isn't it? We saw Jesus and Sterling leaving, then they're replaced. And every year or 18 months or whatever it is, one or two go out the door and one or two come in. And so Man City next year are not going to be any weaker than they are this year. So it's up to the rest to bridge that gap.
I'm not quite as worried as you are. I mean, it's not... I mean, Bayern Munich have won it, what, 9 years in a row?
10 years in a row.
10 years in a row. And by December, we're all going, well, you know, it's done. We've never said that about the Premier League. I don't remember saying that. At least every year, there's a title race. There's been a title race. This year it was Arsenal. The previous years it's been Liverpool. There's always been somebody pushing Man City. So we've never been at a stage where it's got ridiculous and said, well, it's over with 15 games to go. So I don't think that's... As long as Manchester City are as good as they are, I have no problem with it, because it's going to push everybody else to try and get better. And if you've got a team winning your league year after year that's the best team on the planet, I don't have a problem with that. Everybody else has to step up. And there's certainly enough money around the other clubs to make a challenge. So I'm not as worried about it as you. I don't think it looks as bad as what the Bundesliga has been over 10 years.
I'm not suggesting that we're talking about 15, 18, 20-point gaps every year, but if City's dominance continues, and even if it's a couple of points
right
at the end of every season, if we're talking 7 in 3 or 4 years' time, it's 7 or 8 or whatever it is, then it's an issue. But Stevie's right. I mean, United in particular should have the most clout to go and spend, but they have to recruit properly in the positions, and if they don't, they're not going to challenge. So it's not City's problem, don't get me wrong. And look, they've got arguments that they need to answer legally, and we know that they're being challenged. But what the manager and the players can do is only what they can do, and it's been quite something.
I mean, the other thing is Pep as well. You know, again, at Bayern's a good example. Regardless of who the manager is at Bayern, we're always going, well, it doesn't matter, Bayern's going to win. I get the feeling that City aren't going to be quite the same team without Pep in charge. I think that makes a huge difference. So again, in a couple of years' time, if he decides that he's had enough, then that's another reason why it's just not going to be City all the time.
Meanwhile, Arsenal just want this out the way, don't they? They just want this season to finish now.
Yeah, but... I mean, do you want me to talk about the game today? Because I couldn't believe the lineup.
What he did was bonkers.
It was absolutely crazy.
He changed the formation.
He played 4 centre-backs in a back 4. I mean, listen, I understand when you're playing... I mean, Nottingham Forest were always going to be a challenge physically, and the way they close you down once they reach you. Once they set the stall up pretty much just over the halfway line, and then as soon as they come in contact, bam, they're after you. So I understand the set pieces side and the physical side, but from a football standpoint of view, it was absolutely bonkers, as Craig said, because it completely affected the pace of Arsenal going forward. You know, there's a reason why we do drills day in and day out, and there's a reason why we do shape and all these other things in training, so that when it comes to the game, you do it without even thinking. You know, the ball comes for the goal, he goes wide, he opens up, plays the guy in, bam, bam. And all of a sudden, you turn up at Nottingham and you've got 4 centre-backs in the four defensive positions, and they've got to think where they're passing it, because they're not used to opening up. Thomas Partey's not used to opening up and try to play it straight wide, or... It was completely bonkers. And they never changed it.
Well, I was listening to Lee Dixon and the NBC commentary talking about it, and at the start of the game, Thomas Partey was almost playing at times as a wing-back and on the right side, and Dicko was like, this is nuts. What's he doing out there? He doesn't know what he's doing. Sometimes he's in the middle of the park, sometimes he was out on the right, and then Odegaard
was in the way more.
Then Odegaard was in the right. It was like, Arteta, I mean, look, it's not going to make... It was never going to make a difference, right? Even if they won this game today.
Yeah.
It was just... City were always going to win the title after last weekend or whatever, after last week. But you just looked at Arteta today and thought,
What you do?
What's the mindset? When he told the players, this is what we're going to do, they must have just looked at him. It was almost as bad as having the dog at the training ground last week.
I'll
because
win.
it was bringing some calmness.
Well, and you got to be careful as well. You know, he's got them all eating out his hand.
Yep.
Everything he says to them is now all of a sudden from nowhere they're probably going, hold on, what's going on here? What happened to all this? This is how we play. Right. This is how Arsenal plays. This is what we do. And then we've got players as well. Thomas Partey's thinking, what am I doing out here? Does that mean that I'm not going to be playing in the middle? And then you've got Tierney. I mean, you're talking about Arsenal need to build a squad, right, to be like City. If I'm Tierney, I'm out the door as soon as I can. Because not only can he not get a game when Zinchenko's fit, but when Zinchenko's out, he can't get a game either. So he's going to be sitting in the house tonight going, where am I going?
Shame that
I can't even get a game when he's still.
I mean, in
still
some
fit.
sense, it's a shame that it's petered out in the way that it has for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Not that there's none of this sort of bottleneck and all that. I don't buy into that nonsense. They've just run out of steam. You look at their team selection for most of the year, and there's been some changes, but there's been nowhere near the changes that others have made. Yeah. And so a lot of those guys, I think, have just run out of steam towards the end of the season, and that will be told by results. And City are by far the stronger side. There's nothing to be having your head down about it. But if they want to improve on this season, the biggest thing they have to improve on is one or two positions in the team, but their squad.
Yeah.
It's squad depth.
So Arsenal run out of steam. Meanwhile, Manchester City just finding extra gears when they needed them, Pablo. Of course, it's the first part of what could be the first treble we've seen in the Premier League since Manchester United did it under Sir Alex Ferguson. The Champions League final and the FA Cup final. Of those two, which are you more concerned about?
Well, of course, the FA Cup final is huge because that is against Manchester United, and you don't want to lose against Man United. I got experience of playing against them in Wembley in FA Cup, and that is a special game. So then, of course, the Champions League is the biggest competition for Man City Football Club. I mean, they have to win it. That's the year. That's the season that they have to win the Champions League. But of course, let's go game by game. You know, now just let them enjoy the game tomorrow and celebrate it in front of the fans. And then let's see if Man City can win the treble. That would be brilliant for the club, for the player, from everyone. You know, I've been listening to you guys talking, and you were right. You know, look at individually, Man City, they've all been incredible. They have one of the greatest managers. So everything looks like right and perfect for them to win the treble. But we all know how difficult it is. So let's stay calm and feet on the ground, and let's go game by game.